The Star Wars Unlimited secondary market is going bonkers right now. So today I want to dive in. I want to check out some big winners from the massive growth, and I want to talk about why this market explosion is a little bit healthier than some recent explosions we've seen in other trading card games. Talking about the market or the secondary market of any trading card game is always, well, it's a risky proposition. And I think that balance through all things is what is most important when we look at a game taking off and flying to the moon. And Star Wars Unlimited is no exception here. But I do want to put out a caveat. I don't think that the box value going up and skyrocketing or singles prices just heading off the charts is indicating any kind of real success. We saw this early with Disney Lorcana in the first chapter, and I actually believe Lorcana is vastly more successful now with stable box prices of Rise of the Floodborn and Into the Inklands than it was when you couldn't get your hands on a first chapter box for less than $400. Now, Star Wars Unlimited is going through some growing pains, and we are seeing some massive explosions. We're going to dive into all of that today, but if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because like 78% of people who watch the videos aren't subscribed. So click that button. It helps the channel grow, and it helps me know that you like what we're doing around here, and you like to have fun and have these conversations with all of us. But Star Wars Unlimited hitting the ground running is something that, well, I don't want to say none of us saw coming, but we didn't expect to this extent. Star Wars Unlimited is produced by a manufacturer that, not to mince words, doesn't have the best track record when it comes to printing things into absolute oblivion. And it's important with trading card games to have that balance that we discussed. An available box that people can get their hands on to grow and play the game, as well as cards and the game pieces and the boxes that people collect holding some significant value. And Star Wars Unlimited seems to be in that sweet spot right now. So we're going to talk about sealed product first, then we're going to talk about singles and why I think this is kind of a weird butter zone for a game like Star Wars Unlimited. But to mention the sealed product going to the moon would be, I guess, underhyping things, as the booster box for Star Wars Unlimited has jumped up $100 in price in the last week, from around $120 to $220. And I'm not going to go back to the earlier video that I made, but I will point out that I predicted a settling between $200 and $250, and for this exact moment, I'm gonna beep toot my own horn a little bit here, I was spot on. If you've been around the channel for a while, I get some of them right, I get some of them wrong, but this one, bam, dead on. And it's something that you like to see. It was really kicked off because of the announcement of the out-of-stock booster box for Star Wars Unlimited, but that announcement did come with the caveat of some reprints. So I want to encourage, while we're seeing this price go to the moon, it's an indicator that people are looking to pick up the sealed booster box. These prices cannot go higher unless people are buying the product. It is also kind of quelled and pushed down a little bit due to the notion that, yes, we are getting more reprints. These boxes are still going to continue to come out. In how meaningful of a fashion is yet to be seen, and based on the allocations to game stores from the first wave of the restock, it's not great, but I know we are promised some bigger restocks in the future, and I believe that the first set is going to be printed for a long time to come. And I want to stop right here and mention that's not a bad thing. In my opinion, this product needs to be readily available. Star Wars Unlimited, part of the success and the love and the joy and everything we feel about this game is predicated on our love for the underlying IP, and that underlying IP goes wide. Again, to mention Disney Lorcana, we see a bit of that effect here with Star Wars Unlimited. We see people getting involved in this game that, yes, they're fans of trading card games and they're looking for their competitive outlet, their one-on-one play, their back and forth style that, that this game provides. But we also see people getting involved that aren't the biggest TCG people in the world. Maybe they played Commander, maybe they've played a game here and there, but man, do they just love Star Wars. And when you see something like this and you combine it with really solid, back and forth and intricate gameplay, I think you have a winner here. And because of that, you do need this product to be on the shelf, to continue to grow and to continue to spread. So more important than the spiking price of the first booster box to come out for the game 5 seconds ago, I think is the availability of product for people to get their hands on and experience Star Wars Unlimited in a meaningful way. And I don't mean buy a starter deck and jam that with your friend 20 times, because sooner or later that gets old. You got to transition to the booster box and open the product and get your hands on the cards. And speaking of the cards, there's a lot to unpack when we take a look at the secondary market when it comes to singles. Starting at the top, the showcase cards have been climbing in value since day one. Their availability on TCG Player is, dwindling at times, and other times more come to market, but we've seen one common theme is these cards just continue to seem to go up in value. And the most expensive cards, you would think, in something that really leans into the IP like we discussed, would be the most popular and most iconic characters. Well, that's not necessarily the case. There is some of that going on when you look at the top of the showcase pricings, but realistically, playability is driving a lot of these singles prices, including the showcase cards. Now, I know that seems weird, but as someone who's been involved in trading card games for the better part of 2 decades now, I can assure you, players wanting to buy fancy, shiny, expensive things for their decks and show them off is not a strange concept. Just because it's not for all of us doesn't mean that people aren't absolutely doing it, and this game is leaning in 100%. Many of the showcases that you are seeing spike in value or hold a reasonable amount of value are not only due to the iconic nature of the characters, but for the playability of the cards. And that doesn't just stop with these showcase variants. We see that down the road when you take a look at evaluating these Star Wars Unlimited cards that have gone up in price as far as singles are concerned. Looking at your legendary slot, your most playable legendaries are constantly going up in value. And we have seen fluctuation in the legendary spot based on decks that are coming to light, the meta that is always changing and expanding, and new things that our players are wanting to try. This theme, this overarching idea that these high value cards are driven not only by collectability or the art on the card or something we want to see, but people sitting down and playing the game is, in my opinion, the healthiest form of growth that you can get in a trading card game. We have seen in the past other companies try to inject some sort of growth by short printing some cards and making it so you have to have an expensive card to really compete with a game, or not to go to your local game store and just get smashed over and over and over again. And so to see this happening, I am really thrilled. I love everything that's going on, and I think that this is really healthy until you get to a point. I do want to point out, just like the booster box, I don't want to see any of the regular playable cards hit some crazy unobtainable prices. And yes, there are some very expensive playable cards, but thanks to the hyperspace variants and kind of the foils and the diversity of variants in the product, you can normally get your hands on most things. There are a few exceptions, but most things for a reasonable price. But the value, when we talk trading card game markets, and if you stuck around for this long, this is the real meat and potatoes take here, and why Star Wars Unlimited is doing extremely well. The value of trading card games is so often just defined by the top end and the crazy hits and the wild variants and cards that you can hit. But Star Wars Unlimited is doing something that I think is so meaningful to just regular fans like you and me, people just looking to have fun with the game and casually open packs and just experience this thing as a TCG. And that is having a great number of cards in that $5 to $15 zone. This butter zone, as I have called it with other TCGs, is probably the most meaningful space where cards can exist if your game is growing in any significant fashion. And this is because, spoiler alert, when regular people open packs, win tournaments, build decks, we care very much about the value of the individual cards in the pack. And yes, when we hit the major showcase or the crazy legendary and the hyperspace variant, we feel great, it's cool, but often we sell that portion of our collection off, as if we're not looking to hardcore collect, we move on from that and look to buy cards that we can sit down with our friends and play with. And having a bunch of cards in this price range means that often when we buy a pack or two at the local game store, we feel like we get our money's worth. If we want to go above and beyond and buy a card for our deck and feel kind of the expansion in power, the unlimited power, if you will, we can do so by buying a $15 card, something that doesn't necessarily break the bank and is still super meaningful to us. All in all, this range of cards is the most important and remains healthy, and yes, just like our other cards, is driven by the playability, the community choosing which cards they're putting in decks and slamming cardboard down on tables. So Star Wars Unlimited right now is in a really healthy spot. But it's at a dangerous point. I do not want to see this product short printed. I do not want to see boxes all of a sudden continue to hold 220, 230, 240, 250, and continue to climb. I want more boxes to hit the community, because I believe if the game is going to be successful in the long term, it is wildly important. It is so important that we get this game and these game pieces and these cards into the most hands that we can. And this is because, yeah, down the road, 3-4 years down the road, do I want the original print of products to hold value? Of course I do. That just means you have a healthy ecosystem. People remember the beginnings of it. They feel that pull towards that beginning. The community values the early products, so there was no hiccups and things like that. That's obviously an extremely healthy sign, but it's too soon. The game's been out for 5 minutes. I want to see boxes readily available for people, but most importantly, I want to know your take. Do you think that the massive rise in price in Star Wars Unlimited is something we could have seen coming? Do you think it's healthy, or do you, like me, want to see things settle down a little bit, more products be able to be pushed out into the community, and the game continue to grow? If you want to check out how many products for Star Wars Unlimited have sold on TCG Player, our channel members here support cardboardfinance.com. It is a web project. It is a data vault where we scrape all that data and hold on to it so we can view a TCG's lifespan over the big picture, the long term. If you want to support that, you can spend $5 a month to support this channel. It gets you access to discounts on box openings, custom emotes, early access to content, some custom content, and yes, it helps me pay the server bills so I don't have to do all of that out of my pocket. Thank you so much for watching today. If you've never shared a Hometown TCG video, it's never been a better time than right now. Share this video wherever you talk Star Wars on the internet, and until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh. We will see you around. All right, goodbye.